everyone, and welcome to this episode of the Tiny Fit Diva podcast. I'm your host, Kylene Terhune, functional diagnostic nutrition practitioner. It's my job to help you uncover the hidden causes of chronic stressors in your life. And so I'm very excited today to have Dr. Louise Swartzwalter. Did I say that right?
You did. Mm-hmm.
And she is just super cool. And today we're going to talk about the brain, which I'm really excited about because many of you may know that the brain was a huge motivator in my health journey. I really wanted to prevent the last 30 years of my life from being, my brain death, essentially, where we see so many people struggle with Alzheimer's and dementia and losing touch of who they are and who their families are. And that really kind of scared me. And so that's always been a high priority for me to avoid that as much as possible and do anything in my power to be alive until the day I die, basically, be alert and aware. So I'm really excited to talk about the brain today with Dr. Louise. So I'm going to give you a short little intro here so people know a little bit about what you do before we start talking. For over 20 years, Dr. Louise has been helping transform lives individually and in groups using unique multi-dimensional approach, including naturopathy, biofeedback, trauma release work, NLP, life coaching, and energy work. Louise is the owner and founder of Albuquerque Natural Health Center and the creator of the B.R.A.I.N system, a 5-step healing program serving clients worldwide. She is passionate about connecting, clearing blocks to success, and helping others achieve their optimal health and highest potential. Using a combination of tools, Louise has helped people move from anxiety to calm in one session. Dr. Swartzwalter's unique multidimensional approach has helped 45,000 clients in the last 20 years reach success in their lives. Louise's passion is cracking difficult cases. I love that. I'm a difficult case.
I love I don't know why. It's just like a challenge, It's like there's always a way. I always have to find a way.
Yeah, that makes you feel good, right?
Yeah.
So share a little bit about your personal history. How did you get interested in the brain? What was your health journey kind of getting into this field?
I ended up right after my kids were born. I have two wonderful kids. They're now in their early 30s. So this is years ago, but I crashed. I really crashed, and I lost my brain power. I had chronic fatigue, and it's kind of like the doctor hopping thing. You go from doctor to doctor, and you really don't. I had all these different labels. They didn't really know what was wrong with me. And my dentist said, you have a lot of mercury fillings in your mouth. Let's take them all out. And he did it all in one day. So this is back in 1993, and I had 14 fillings. So,
he's like, hey, let's get these out of here. But then they overloaded you.
They overloaded me. And so I was full of heavy metals. Like my liver and kidney were like just bashed. I could not detox those metals. So it took me on this whole journey of figuring out how to heal myself. And I remember at that time, my brain didn't work. And I was like, I just really want my brain to work. And as a special ed teacher, I worked a lot with those kids. So I was a dyslexic teacher. I was an actual therapist that taught kids how to read, write, and spell. And what I realized on that journey was that I would sit across from those kids, and they had the same kind of issues I did. So I had all the mercury out. I'd crashed. I crashed. I went down to 89 pounds. I was really, really sick. I was on an oxygen tank for about 3 years. I probably shouldn't have lived, it was like really bad. And I was a young mom at that time. And all I wanted to do was just get to be normal. I remember just thinking, I just want to be a normal mom. I just want to be a normal mom. And so, but I had no brain power. I had to write everything down. I would forget things all the time. It really taught me about, as a functional medicine doc, or a nutritionist, how much heavy metals is such a big part of what is causing so many illnesses today. And so I had to detox all of that mercury, and it was a very slow process. I ended up in a sauna program, sweating, using my skin as my largest organ to clean my body out. It was wonderful. I still have a sauna in my garage that I use once a week, so I learned a lot about healing and health and lifestyle change, and switched all of my went to organic food, did my supplements, and I did all that great stuff, but I still wasn't where I wanted to be. And so what I realized is it took me on a journey of really looking a little bit more holistically at what health really looked like, health and wellness on a bigger level. And so I remember one day this little light bulb finally went off in my brain, and I was just like, with the kids that I taught, those dyslexic kids, to change their brain, we had to use a multisensory approach. And so we did cards that had a bee with a bat. And so it was what you see, with what you say, with what you write, with what you hear. It was multisensory. And we would skywrite B, bat, B, T, table, T, A, apple, at in cursive, and then put it together, B, at, T. And we did it in the desk and sand and in pudding, anything you can think of that was kinesthetic, right? So we did all the senses. And what it did is those kids would jump in reading in almost 6 months, 2 grade levels.
Wow.
Because you were retraining their brain. And then I realized, you know what? If that's happening for them, why aren't we doing that in the healing world? And then I started putting the pieces together and realized that my own journey, I moved my whole family from Chicago suburbs in Illinois to New Mexico, to the mountains, to Pueblo-style houses with leaky flat roofs and a whole new world and hiking every day. And I kind of call those my monk years. So we were in Taos for about 7 years, and an adobe house, no chemicals, right? Just the whole natural lifestyle thing that we had to do. And it was my healing years, and it was very, very good. And even then, even though I had changed my diet and I was doing all the physical body things, I started on this journey of working more emotionally and spiritually and mentally, and working on changing that part. And so what I realized was, when we're healing, it's all of it. And then when I was introduced to energy work, it even took it further. So that's how my brain system came to be. And so the brain system stands for, the B is body, working with the body, changing your diet, changing your lifestyle, all that. R is releasing. We have to release the baggage of the past. And so I learned these amazing releasing techniques on how to release even ancestral patterns of fear and guilt and shame. So we have to release, align with spirit. So A is align with spirit. So there's always a spiritual component to healing. I is integrating it all. And N is putting in the new program. So, there's a lot of releasing techniques. There's things like pranic healing. There's things like tapping, which does help. It helps your confidence level, but it doesn't take out the brain, soul, deeper things that are stuck. And when you can do that, you can come back to your authentic self. And what happens is your brain power works better. So part of the new program, which I just taught this last weekend, we were up in Boulder at a retreat, and I watched everybody change. Oh, it was so awesome. It was completely awesome. And it was just amazing. So when I think about, the importance of all those steps now, if I miss one, I kind of feel like I'm not doing my job. Like I haven't really helped that person all the way.
Can you go more into some of the ways that people can identify and release some of those things that are holding? Like, what would be some examples of things that people would need to release?
Things people would need to release. Well, we all live on this planet, so we all are exposed to everything, stuff, if you will. But I'm talking emotional stuff. So let's just say you got in trouble at age 3 because you took your brother's toy away. There's a little, maybe you're fighting with your brother or sister or whatever. And whatever emotion got stuck in the brain at that time is stuck until we release it. So if you were given a punishment and now you're made to feel guilty for something you didn't do, you're feeling bad about yourself, we have to release that.
What are some ways is that something people can do on their own, or they need guidance through that?
They may need more guidance, but very simply what you can do, I kind of call it the power of the spoken word. The truth will set you free. So if you name the words about the situation and you name the emotion, that's the first thing you can do. So understand that there's guilt. Then you can even figure out maybe where the guilt is. So if you're holding guilt in your belly, there's a technique that I use, and it's emotion code work to release the guilt in the belly. And it's simply taking like a refrigerator magnet. So let's just pretend this is a refrigerator magnet. And you just say, I release the guilt in the belly. I release the guilt in the belly, or the colon, or wherever you think it might be. And there's a whole process with that I teach,
Mm-hmm.
but that's a very simple thing that you can do. And you'll actually find that if you have pain somewhere in your body, there's usually an emotion stuck there. And that emotion gets stuck also in the brain. So what I mean by that is it's actually based on Dr. Hamer's work. He was a German doctor that discovered trauma causes illness. And how he discovered that was it was an unfortunate accident, but his son was shot at 17 and died. And the trauma, he was perfectly healthy before that. So he said to himself, I think this trauma really caused my prostate cancer. 3 years later, he ended up with prostate cancer. So he knew it was the trauma of him going through losing his son. And what he did is he worked on the trauma and his cancer went away. So he was a doctor, a medical doctor working with breast cancer patients mostly. And what he figured out was if he worked with them on their trauma, their what he called the it stinks moment, their cancer would go away.
Wow.
So he put together whole charts. The coolest thing he did is took pictures of their brains and found out where the lesion was, where the it stinks moment was. So if you have esophageal cancer, maybe you're not able to swallow a morsel, you're not able to speak your truth, right? They say that about thyroid. And he would find out where the brain it was stuck. So this little cellular memory bump here, bump here, bump, so it would be stuck in a different part of the brain. And he did whole charts of this online. So what I figured out was a way to do what I call brain soul balancing, which releases the trauma that's stuck in the brain. And when you do that with Alzheimer's, beginning Alzheimer's patients, their brain power is better. It's like that opens up the door for them.
Wow.
I think, but I can't claim this because we have to say, hey, I'm not a medical doctor. I can't make medical claims here. But I have seen when I've worked with people with beginning dementia, the piece that's missing, it's not just detoxing heavy metals and working on the brain in other ways that we might know and might be out there already in the books and the things we read. It's the energy work piece, and it's those lesions in the brain, those emotions, those traumas, the accident that happened, when you lost your mother, the grief that might be stuck there, whatever, that has to be released for you to get your brain power back.
So this is a really interesting topic because I'm totally a believer.
Mm-hmm.
I absolutely think, and you can say this another way, I guess, is that, and I think people may be a little more familiar with this term in thinking stress affects your health, and it's really all you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
There's a trauma in your life, or there's an emotion that's sort of stuck. That is stress. That's very, very stressful. And then we're a little more familiar with the concept of the conscious brain versus the unconscious brain, or the subconscious brain, I guess you'd say. And a lot of this work, I assume, would be with the subconscious, things that we logically know one answer to, but it's like stuck in our subconscious that's really affecting us, and that's very, very stressful. So how do you maybe explain energy work and trapped emotions and things like that to people that maybe it's really new and out there too?
That's a great question, Kylene. Yeah. I do a demonstration where I show that pain starts in the field. So first I explain muscle testing if they don't understand that. So kinesiology or muscle testing is testing the strength of a muscle, usually by pushing down on it, to find out if someone needs this vitamin C, let's say, or something about the body. Okay. And I'll have them hold where the pain is. So let's just say the pain is in the shoulder. And so they're holding the pain, they're holding their hand here on their shoulder. This is where their pain is. And I muscle test and I say, the pain is here, hold. And then I have them put their hand out just a little further, about 6 inches away from their body. And I say, the pain is here, hold. And it stays stronger. Then we put their hand even further out, the pain is here, hold. And it stays stronger. Then I have them put it back on their shoulder, the pain is here, hold. And so it's showing them, even with their own muscle strength, that the pain starts in the energy field. It doesn't start right here. Doesn't mean they're not feeling it there. But what I always say to people is, you could slap, arnica cream, Bengay, whatever you want, essential oils on that shoulder, and it's going to help a little bit, but you have to clear the pain in the field. So it sort of proves to them that there's an energy field piece that has to be looked at too. And then I have a process that's called a new program, which is codes for success. And I can have them say, I easily release the pain in my shoulder. And then I do these codes on them and it's better. So I have them say, hey, is it a 0 through 10? Well, it's an 8. And then after we release it in the field using some codes, now it's a 3.
Wow.
So it shows them right away that pain starts in the field and that we need to work. The energy field piece is not being addressed. And that's the same thing with what the example I just gave you is figuring out what traumas happened for that person with beginning dementia. Now, if someone has full-blown dementia, and they can't remember, and they don't even remember their family members, I'm pretty intuitive, and I've taught a lot of my coaches to be intuitive so that we can figure some things out intuitively. But I would also still say that it's much, much better when we've got somebody who's at the very beginning, because if they can verbalize it and they can remember something that happened with their, like I say, brother, sister, mother, father, whatever, when they were younger, it's going to help it unlock that piece in the brain and kind of remove it in a sense.
Mm, so interesting. And
Mm-hmm.
so, how did you go from being on an oxygen tank to running your own business? And
Uh, um, well, it took about 16 years, very slowly, and yet I think that's why I developed my system actually, because I kept thinking, you know what? There's a faster way. There's a faster way. There's a faster way. We've got to find a faster way for people. So it was my quest and my mission. But I could breathe when I got to New Mexico. So I had to get away from pesticides and herbicides, which was used a lot in Illinois on the lawns, and they sprayed for mosquitoes. And I worked with the mayor to sue the state of Illinois at that time. So I became an activist. I was very angry. I was just trying to be okay, really. I remember that Dr. Mercola had an office in Schaumburg, Illinois, and I asked him if he could have all of his patients sign this petition so we could get that law passed. And we did. And then years later, I got my first computer. I'm on the computer and I'm looking stuff up and I'm like, is that the same Dr. Mercola? So it was such a journey. So when I moved to Taos, New Mexico, and I could breathe and I had clean air and I didn't have to have an oxygen tank anymore, I slowly just worked on my, like I said, physical, mental, emotional health, and kept chipping away at it. And then the energy work piece was a big, big turning point, as well as biofeedback. So I discovered a biofeedback program. At that time, it was called the SCIO, SCIO. Now there's been some upgrades to it. So it's the indigo or the adductor. And I ended up playing with that and working on myself. And then I ended up seeing all of my students and putting them on the program. And it changed their brains. So it's a neurobiofeedback program, and it helped their reading. So I was teaching dyslexics how to read, write, and spell, and it helped them process so much better. And it was amazing. And so that was the beginning, was biofeedback, and that helped my health a lot and got me to the point where I could even work and open an office. So I started in my house, started seeing my students, and they would manipulate me. I mean, David would come in and he'd be like, oh, I can't read today, I have a headache. You have to put me on biofeedback. So they felt it. They knew it, right? They could feel it. And then I opened my first office. We were there for 7 years. And then I did all these codes that I do in the field, and some of them are for wealth. And I did the wealth codes on myself every day when my lease was up. And I ended up buying my own office. So we bought an office. And so I've been there for like 5 years now, maybe 6, I think 6. But I never thought that I would be doing this. I thought I'd have, I wanted the 2.1 kids and the puppy dog and the white picket fence in Illinois. I didn't think I was leaving.
That's so cool, though. I mean, wow, how things that happen in our personal lives change our professional lives. I think that's so interesting. A lot of times that's where you find your passion because you're so connected to it personally. And that's how you're able to bring more to your clients for sure, because you're able to empathize because you know what it feels like because you've been there.
Right.
So, what are some things you can teach us in order to rewire our brains? Do you have any tricks that you can share?
Yes, I want to teach you guys mind gems. And I wonder if I can I wonder if I have it. Let's see. I was thinking I could maybe share where to, I'll share where to get it in a minute. But Mind Gems is this. Mind Gems is 12 little exercises that balance the brain.
Okay.
So what they do is they put your brain back in balance, but in the kind of in the field. So let me see if I can find it. You know what I'll do? I'll share my screen and we'll go there so you guys can see. So it's louiseswartzwalter.com, and on my website it'll say get Mind Gems. So brain balancing Mind Gems for clarity, balance, and focus. And all you have to do is put your name in here. And I'm going to go ahead and do it just so you can kind of see the whole process. Oh gosh, come on up. Okay. So there's a little video there, but you can download the Mind Gems. And so these are Mind Gems, and what they do is they take about only 4 minutes to do, and they help balance your brain. And so the first one is putting your hand under your belly button, and this switches on hearing. So it switches on inner hearing and outer hearing. And you hold them, each one of these you only hold for 12 seconds. So it's like doing a little bit of a meditation or an exercise that you can start your day with. And then you put your hand on top of your head, and so this is number 2, and this brings your attention to present time. So it helps you be present here and now. Most of them are done switching, which means I'm going to do this hand first, and then I'm going to switch. And it doesn't matter which hand you start with, you're just going to switch. And so if we're racing, you know, through our day and we're wanting to get to the next thing, this helps you kind of ground and be present now. Okay? And then the third one is crossing. Most of them are cone fingers. It's crossing behind your head. So it's right hand on left side, left hand on right side on those occipital bones of the brain. So the back of the head. This clears fear and it switches on the brain. And then you switch. And switch just means if my right hand's on top, I'm going to put my left hand on top. Okay? And so what that one does, and I have the kids do that before they take a test. So there's a couple that you should do before you take a test. You want to clear fear and switch on the brain. And you want to switch on your electrical system, which is number 4. So it's just going like this. So it's putting the pads of the fingers together. And this restores your electrical balance. So when you do these every day, you build up resonance. It's like there's body memory. And because you're crossing midline, you're balancing the corpus callosum. So you're balancing right and left brain. So without, going through the rest of them now, on the call, you can definitely download these and get a copy of these for yourself and try it. I have a lot of my clients say, I forgot to do my Mind Gems. I was doing really good. I did them every day, and I kind of took a break, and I found them in a pile, and I picked them up again, and I did them today, and my headache went away.
Okay. So I was going to ask how long before you might see results doing something like that. But
you're going to see it right away.
That's so interesting.
And if you have children, you want to teach the kids.
Interesting. So did you mention that you have a new program that's come out?
Yes. So my new program, I'm so excited. So, after years of working with clients and, and myself and my family, I designed a system called the B.R.A.I.N system. And now I'm teaching it. And so now I have coaches who are learning the system and applying it in their lives and with their patients and clients. And the results have been completely amazing. I mean, just amazing. Charlotte is working with animals. She's a veterinarian, and she does acupuncture with animals. And so she started her own business on the side other than working in the clinics too, in the veterinarian clinics. And so she's working holistically with animals and using the energy work pieces to release the emotions from these very skittish rescue dogs. And she would say, you know, when I do the energy work first, they're not so scared, and they let me put needles in them, and I can do the acupuncture on them.
Aww.
And then she's releasing the emotions from the acupuncture points. So now she's looking at teaching veterinarians. So the system that I've taught, and now that I'm certifying coaches, that's going global. It's amazing. It is amazing. So I, in a sense, have kind of two businesses. It's pretty busy right now. But it's been amazing to watch. And, you know, the transformation is just so, it's just bigger. It's bigger.
What do you think is the biggest thing you've seen, biggest change with one of your clients?
Well, there's so many. I don't even know where to start. Deanna quit smoking. She quit the addiction to Coffee Mate. She made more money from January to June than she did all last year. So, you know, what happens is when you get your brain balanced again, and you can up-level your life in that way. So as an entrepreneur, there's no stopping what can happen. I always say there isn't anything we can't do. It's just a matter of figuring out what we need to do. And it's because we're working on the brain soul level and releasing any blocks to your success that might be in the way. Whether it's something from age 2, whether it's something from great-great-great-great-grandma and grandpa, it's a block that we have to release. It's their fear that's affecting you too. You know, or something that's happening personally, or your own little block that's happening within you right now. We can release that. You don't have to hold on to it. Isn't that fun?
It is fun. It's so it's so crazy too when you talk about it being, you know, historical and not maybe something that you're born with, but maybe not something that you personally experienced, which is really interesting to me.
Mm-hmm.
So where can people learn more about your program, and where can they connect with you?
Well, you know, they can go to my website. So it's louiseswartzwalter.com. And there is a link there to sign up for an abundance assessment. And so if you want to have a conversation with me, just click on that link. I think it's only like 4 or 5 questions. And then I'll get your form, you know, in my email, and then I'll connect with you. We'll have a call and find out how I can help you more. You know, what can we do if there's a match there?
That's awesome. So is there anything else that you would like to, a thought that you might like to leave with people today?
Yeah, you know, there's a little saying that I did at the end of my PowerPoint this last week, and it said, lead with your heart, but take your brain with you.
I like that. Lead with your heart, but take your brain with you.
Yes.
And in your case, a balanced brain.
Right, a balanced brain, right. Yes.
Thank you so much, Louise. And I'll make sure we have those links for everybody. But thanks so much for sharing your story and the awesome work that you do to help people balance their brain.
You're welcome. It was just a pleasure to be with you today. I love your energy, and you know, we want to help more people. So however we can get that out there, right? Yeah.